Okay, so welcome to Yin Restore class. Today we'll use a blanket and a ball for sure, maybe a block. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. So starting in cross-legged position, use that blanket, give yourself, just if nothing, even if the hips are flexible enough for the knees to be at or below the hips without the blanket, let it increase that so that you really don't have to muscle the curve in the low back at all, right? It's the pelvis tilting that creates that curve, and then the bones stack up, and that is how the spine is supposed to be oriented. So stack the palms in the lap with the right hand on top of the left. Tip of thumbs touch. Draw the shoulder heads back, and then the upper palate back so that you feel your ears move in line with your shoulders, but try not to harden down in the throat. Let that pulling back come with a lift from the crown of the head as well. So you have space there around the throat. And bring yourself into your body. You can use your breath to help with that. Just gently inviting more breath in to the inhale. Emptying out as fully as possible on the exhale. Feeling the ends of the breath, that lightness at the top of the inhale. And the rooting at the bottom of the exhale. Taking this time to notice how your body's feeling today. And try to avoid stories, history, all of that stuff. It's okay. Sometimes it's nice, and it's definitely nice to know if something you're doing all the time is making your body uncomfortable. But for our practice time, let's just be aware of what is right now. And then as we work through these areas, instead of trying to force something to happen, come in and notice what needs to be balanced to allow things to happen. Take your palms together at the center of your chest. Find an intention for your practice today, something to keep you present and truthful. Place your intention into your heart. Bow your chin to your chest. Namaste. You lift the head. Open eyes gently. We're going to start in standing actually today. So just move the blanket off to the side. Make sure you can swing your arms out to your side pretty easily. You can't see my head, but that's okay. Set the feet hip distance if you need to check it out, right? Get your two fists snugly between your ankle bones. So we're really stacking the bones. And then close your eyes and find, again, alignment. Right now we added the legs underneath the pelvis, so root down through the feet. Feel the spine stacking again. That curve in the low back moves in, middle back moves out. Cervical spine, we want that curve moving in with the chin level to the ground. Pause at the end of your next exhale. I'm going to inhale, swinging the arms out to the side for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Exhaling, folding forward for 6, 5. Bend your knees as much as you need to. 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale, arms out to the side. 4. Come on up. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, dive forward. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you're ready for your inhale, continue inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more on your own. We'll meet in the forward fold. 4 count inhale to rise. 6 count exhale to fold forward. Meeting in that forward fold, at least a little bend in the knees. And then take your hands up above the knees and bend them just a little bit more and do about 3 rounds of standing cat-cow. Inhale, open front. Exhale, round the back. Nice. Finish with an inhale, opening the chest up, right? And then really lay your belly down on your thighs. But as you're doing that, broaden your navel back so you get that material out of the way so you can fold forward. So we're going to dangle here for a longer time. And I'm almost resting my torso on my thighs, but not my belly, right? Because the more you can broaden the navel out to the side, engaging Uddiyana Bandha, the more you can access the length of the rib cage out of the pelvis. So take opposite elbows. If that's too much or you feel like you need the hands down on the ground, then do that. But holding opposite elbows can really help add to the weight. The shoulders can just slide up to your ears, no worries. Right, let the head really hang. And again, using the bandhas here to find the most release. Tailbone moves to pubic bone to tailbone. And the navel center broadens back and wide. And if you want to shift a little side to side, you can do that. We're finding those roots through the soles of the feet. The Mula Bandha at the pelvic floor is going to help with that. Right? Find the 4 corners evenly. And as the hamstrings start to open up, you may start to lengthen the leg, but don't let the rib cage move away from the thighs. That's when you know you need to hang a little longer there with the knees bent. Just working the muscle groups that are crossing the hips here. We took the knee joint out of it. Switch the cross of your arms. And also you might try something where you take the arms out in front of the head and take hands to opposite shoulders, and that's going to pull your head in a little bit deeper. So you can decide if that's useful to you. Noticing how the shape is shifting as you stay longer. Maybe using that 4 count inhale, 6 count exhale. Three more deep breaths. End of your exhale, bring your hands to your hips, elbows high. Make sure you're inhaling the whole time you come up. Take a moment at the top. Draw the shoulder heads back. Gently straighten the legs. Press hips forward, right? Find that plumb line. Take arms down to the sides. Eyes closed or a passive eye gaze down the nose. Letting the blood flow upright here. We're gonna squat. So if you're not sure if you like to have a blanket underneath your heels when you squat, then give it a try. This is also where maybe a block would come in, but I'd prefer you try the blanket first, and then you can see about the block. So blanket, right? I rolled mine up a little bit. I'm gonna put my heels on and my toes off. And, start what would be like as wide as your mat, right? So it's wider than my shoulders. And you just want to track that your knees continue to stay over your second toes. Ooh, have a sensitive right knee today. And every day since I was 9 years old. No, not every day. Just some days it needs more attention. So instead of getting mad when I take the stairs and notice it, I try to say, oh, right, okay, so we need to do a little something around this area. So in your squat, pressing the elbows into the knees can help keep track of that, right? If the knees drop in. Finding the pinky edges of the feet, but staying rooted through the big toes, right? We're looking for balance. So just notice which side is heavier, if any, and redistribute that, right? Again, using the bandhas, Mula Bandha is going to help the heels get heavier. Uddiyana Bandha helps this not feel so like balled up, right? It gives that broadening through the navel center that allows for some space to be made here, right? You feel heavy through the hips, but a lightness and a lift through the rib cage so that we can make space for the organs to work. So we're hanging out. And if this is bothering the knees, you can make the heels higher, or even ultimately, right, you could sit up on a block instead. We need to get to that. That's okay, right? Because we want to access things a little longer. Use a blanket back. Right, and then again, eyes closed or passive eye gaze down the nose. Try and think about softening the front of your ankles. It's brainy work. It definitely translates to what's happening in your hip creases as well. Right, so if you can get that to soften up, that whole front of the leg gets a little softer. Let's flip the hands. So we had palms together. Let's take backs of hands together. Right, you're gonna push the backs of your hands together the same way you're pushing your palms together. Maybe rotating a little bit if that seems useful. Notice how the shape has shifted into your physical and emotional reaction to it. And bringing palms together again. 3 more breaths. Hands come down. We're gonna lift the hips, let the head stay down, and then however you walk out to your down dog. That feels really good because it opens up the back of the knees and stretches out through the soles of the feet. So move into your dog. Whatever it's asking for. Coming down to hands and knees. Okay, so let's take the blanket and unroll it, just starting with a little bit of padding. This could change for you, maybe depending on how thick the carpet is. If you're on carpet or the flooring, you might not need this. But when we use the ball, we want to err on the side of less intense, and then we can add intensity to it, right? So we're going to start with, there's two ways you can do this. You can have your right knee forward and your left leg back and put this ball underneath the knee like that. Or you could kind of be more on your belly. I personally find more leverage this way, and you don't have to be totally down into it. You can stay up, right? So try the one with the right knee coming forward. It's kind of like pigeon, but we don't take the knee out to the side, right? Comes down. So then you get the ball and you're getting it right there above the kneecap. Oh, you need a ball. Right, so hold on to help my friendly studio audience here. So, right, that could be varying degrees of intensity, and you can go cross the quad, so it would be horizontally, right, if you were standing up. Ooh, that's interesting. Like a little stand-up base. We're gonna go to 3 different spots on this leg. So we'll start somewhere down at the bottom. Find a spot that's calling to you. It could be right in the middle above the kneecap. Could be a little bit more lateral, which is to the outside of the leg. Could be a little bit more medial, which is to the inside of the leg. Find something interesting. Maybe bow forward here. And then you can add on, if you want to do a little active release, bending and straightening the knee. If you do that, do it about 3-4 times, and then just let the ball settle, right? It's a nice way to shift the muscles and kind of get you in there. Oh, yeah. Right, so inspired by my tired knee, a little quad stuff. And honestly, this is a little bit more intense than probably this quad wants from me right now. Like, I would probably do this with a little bit more softness, so I'm gonna. But you do you, right? You want to be able to relax. That means like even through your jaw and your shoulders and all of those things, right? Because your body is taking cues from the systems that run through it, and they're all connected and they all react together to stimuli throughout the body. So making sure you're finding something that's appropriate. 3 more breaths here. And you can start to move up the leg a bit. And again, the lateral side of the leg, of the quad, which is the outside near the IT band, is notorious for holding stuff. So you might run in there. Oh yeah, I got a softer ball. That was better. Yeah, even wrapping a little bit onto that IT band if you want to. But again, if you're like, oh, I feel that it's there, but it's too intense, I cannot hang with that sensation, just back out of it to where you can. Because the fascia is a continuous sheath. So you're still affecting change in that super intense spot, even though you're not right on top of it. And your body's gonna be able to adapt and make those changes if it's not guarding. Three more breaths. So then moving a little bit further up the leg. Now, what's happened with my outside leg is it started to shift from up here to somewhere more out here. Because now I'm further up and I don't need that same amount of leverage. So you might want to do that. Or even you can bring it down, right? It's just more about how you leverage, how tight your quad is. Because if it's super tight, using this leg here helps to keep you on the muscle, right? Because if it's really tight, it kind of pops you off. So going across the top third of the quad, and maybe even if you feel like you want to crawl up a little bit higher, I mean, like, let's not really get up into the hip joint. But of course, I am only here for suggestions, so if you really want to be there, do it. Three more breaths. So maybe come up on your elbows and you're just going to swipe your hips side to side. And then, crawl yourself up so that you're swiping side to side and getting all the way to maybe above that kneecap again. Right, just to clear it out. And then I felt like going back up to my hip again. So do your little funky army crawl action there. And let's all meet in a forward fold. And then hands on hips, inhale to come up. And just keep your hands on your hips and close your eyes and feel your legs. Let's notice the shift. Open eyes, inhale, sweep the arms up. Interlace the hands, press the palms up, press the feet down, find a little back bend. Exhale, bow forward, hands through heart center. Walk it out to down dog. And take the left knee forward so we can hit up the right quad. So my left knee's coming up into my chest, getting this ball. Oh, maybe I'll start with the little one. Getting this ball right at the top of the knee. Dog hair situation. So yeah, swipe it side to side. Nice to get across there. It's a narrower piece. Gives you a little information on what's calling your attention. Maybe find that spot, peg it, and then maybe a little bending and straightening of the knee. Right? Just, ooh, right, all right. Gets you kind of between those layers, between the sheets. Even just a little. All you need to do is engage just a little in it. You know, you know. Right, so knee stuff is either going to be up in your upper leg, quad, hamstring, or in your lower leg, in your calf, right? Because the muscles that cross the knee are what create that joint along with ligaments. Ligaments aren't supposed to change shape. They do sometimes because muscles are out of balance. So if you're ever struggling with knee stuff, hard sometimes to do a quad stretch when your knee is sore. So this compression work can be really useful. Effective way to release constrictions. Three more breaths in this spot. Letting your next inhale start to move you up into new territory. Maybe you're following what feels kind of like a vein of sensation of restriction up the leg. Maybe it was just one little spot. Feeling around in that middle third of the quad, where I will switch to my bigger and squishier ball. It's always nice to have a variety of balls, depending on surface and restriction. Oftentimes this is nice to do in your bed, and if the mattress is too soft, you can just grab like a magazine or a big folder and put it between the bed and the ball, and that should provide enough resistance for it to be a little more useful or intense. Noticing areas of unconscious holding close to or even further away from the spot. More breaths. And starting that journey a little bit further up the leg with an inhale. You can go lateral again, just swiping a little bit side to side with the hips. Eventually finding a spot to settle. And that left leg can then adjust to whatever kind of leverage you need. Three more breaths. And coming up onto your elbows if you left them, so you can kind of have a little more mobility. Swiping across the leg and crawling up and just kind of full movement through that quad. And then as you're ready, into forward fold, move the ball to the side. Hands on hips, elbows high. Use the full inhale to come up. Find your upright posture here. And down through the legs, just notice the shift, any new information. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Interlace the hands with the awkward grip. Turn the palms up. Spread open. Lift up through the front side. Exhale, bow forward. And move that blanket out of the way and walk out into your down dog. And forward to plank, lower to the ground. So, in a cactus, arms, and making sure that your elbows are coming right out from your shoulders. Yeah, so they're not lower or higher. And then palms right out from elbows as well. So usually I got 90-90. You're gonna turn and look to your left and slowly roll your chest open. Now there's a little bit of, show you, little bit of walking away with that arm that I'm rolling towards, right? Because I don't want to just dump into the front of the shoulder. So I'm walking that away just a little bit. Now look, I know we've done this before with the arm straight. It's a lot more intense with the cactus of the arm. So you don't need to go very far, right? You see, I can even just hang out right here. Maybe I'll be a little more side lying to it. Right, I brought the legs kind of more side lying. But it's pretty intense, so just move slow. You should really feel that stretch as like a pulling here in the pec, not a poking kind of deal. And then, right, just find as passive a position as you can to support that. And fascial release, which is what happens in our yin postures because we're staying long enough that fascia is reorganizing because we've been in the position long enough that it realizes, oh, well, let me shift and see if I can make this more accessible. Sometimes it feels like butter melting or taffy pulling. But sometimes it feels kind of rippy. And in pecs, quads, those bigger muscle and highly used muscle groups can tend to feel a bit rippy. So know that usually ripping happens when things go fast, so it's not ripping. It's just what the sensation is, your brain is translating it as. But we're just finding something you can tolerate, I don't want you to like feel tortured. But also know that strong sensation is appropriate sometimes. Using your breath and your mindfulness, with trust and compassion in your body. Three more breaths. Gently roll yourself back onto your belly and then take your left arm overhead and go over to your left side of it. And then gently, you're going to rotate your shoulder around in both directions. And bend and straighten your elbow, circle your wrists, move your fingers. And then just continue onto your back, just for a moment of being with that shift. All right, roll back onto your belly. So now you're going to cactus the left arm. Yeah. Sure it's coming out from the shoulder and the hand is there and it's flat. Turn and look to your right and gently start to roll open, moving that elbow away from you as you go. Wow. I didn't think that's the side that was bugging me though. It's the other side, I thought. Ooh, right? And so know that you don't want to go all the way to the oh my God place because then it's going to be hard to take a deep breath. So back off a little bit. Right, check the position of your head. Remember, you're not turning from your neck. You're turning from the torso. So just let all that be soft. Trying to keep the palm of the left hand a little more open. You don't have to keep it pressing the whole time, though there is a little active release to that, right? If you press down into that elbow and then just gently relax, that's kind of one of those muscle energy techniques. But just having an awareness that the hand's not curling up, because just like the knee, your hand, the muscles that work your hands are in your forearms and even up in your upper arm. So when your hands hurt, it's happening higher up. So we want to make sure to kind of just to have a gauge of how the ends are responding to the deeper work in the middle. 3 more deep breaths. So gently rolling back towards the belly, straighten out that right arm and roll over onto your right side. Gently moving all the joints in that left arm. Right, try and find that full range of motion. It feels kind of exaggerated. And then onto your back, just little feels. Feel the shift, appreciate it, connect to it so that it's glass. All right, and then bend your knees, roll to one side, press up. So taking our blanket, and it's like I'm tri-folding it. I don't want you to roll it because that'll make it a little too tippy, but I want it a little higher than just a fold and a half. If this makes sense. And then have your ball handy. You're gonna sit, and we're putting this under like a supported bridge, okay? So sit up on it, tailbones more towards the foot side. Lay on back. Then you're gonna lift up. We're gonna start with the ball just under the tailbone, okay? And so that's gonna be, and it's gonna be less like hard and bony if your tailbone is here at the top of your gluteal cleft. Right, we're just saying it this way. But if you let it slide right into the top of that gluteal cleft, right, then it nestles in a little bit better and isn't kind of like hard against the sacral bone. But lay down first and then put the ball in, right? I wouldn't put the ball in and then lay down because it's rolling. So get down there, find a spot for it. If it's totally not jamming or that's so sensitive that it's not okay, then just take it out and hang out on the blanket without the ball. And again, you might try a little bit of movement, maybe with the knees a little bit side to side, kind of takes you around into a little bit of that stuff. And then I'm taking my feet wide and letting my knees drop in and just kind of, and notice I'm a little bit tucked almost, and that's positional, right? Because my back hip points are off the blanket, and then the ball is lifting up my tailbone, so it's giving me kind of like a cat back, right? In our cat-cow scenario. Just kind of down there at the pelvis, not getting funky. Okay, now heel toe your feet together. You're gonna lift up, take that ball, and so now we're gonna go to the outside of this, let's say right side of the sacrum. So I went from here in the middle. Now I'm gonna go. This is all bone, bone, bone. You wanna find where it gets into softness, right? There's the sacrum, goes here, here, here. You're gonna go outside that sacrum to the SI joint, sacroiliac joint. Sacrum meets with the iliac, which are the sides of your hip, those bony sides. Those are the ilia. That's right, we're gonna get in on that side. Now, I'm making a fist of my left hand and getting it under my left glute just to kind of direct a little bit more traffic over there. Right, and then with my right leg, if I drop that knee out to the side and then take it back to the center, I get a little bit of exploration through that area. So check it out and then see what you like. Now I'm kind of extending my right leg a little bit and letting the knee drop out to the side. That's getting me to a spot that I feel like I want to soften. We'll stay for about 10 breaths. You're welcome to come back to this. So this is super useful for when over-sitting, right? We get a lot of imbalance in sitting. It's rare that we do it evenly all the time. One more full breath. And I'm gonna stand both feet up and then do lift up just a little bit, right? So not all of my weight is on that ball. It's a little lighter, and just do that swipe side to side so that I'm swiping my right glute, right? You can go a little up and down if you want. And then we'll take it out. Just take a moment. Connect to your glutes. Nice, yeah. Woo, I can feel that down into the sole of my right foot. Okay, so let's try the left side. We're going to the left side of the sacrum. And there's a line there that goes at a diagonal, right? It narrows down into the middle to that tailbone point and broadens out to the sides to your iliac on the side. So finding, move around a little bit, adjust, see what you'd like. Maybe dropping that left knee out to the side and coming back just to kind of check in those external rotators, right? Most of us sit with the knees splayed wider than the hips, and so then your external rotators get tight. And then find your spot. And don't worry if it's not super sensational, right? Sometimes it's not right there on the surface, but as we know, the fascia is a continual sheath. So releasing restrictions in your hips also helps the fascia around your colon to release. So oftentimes people's bellies growl when they get release, even up in their neck or down in the quads. So it's pretty rad system. 3 more breaths. You're ready. Standing both feet, lifting a little weight off that ball so that you can swipe your hips side to side, get little kind of scribbles to clear things out, moving things through the lymph, out the body. And then once you have that, take the ball out, knees in, feet out, just take a moment. What a difference it makes to the ends when you release up through the center. And so lifting hips up and move that blanket out of the way. We're just going to slide into Shavasana. So if you want to scoot yourself back and let that blanket end up under your knees, it's a nice way to support. If you don't need it at all, don't want it, get it out of the way. Maybe you want to use it instead as a roll underneath the cervical spine, right? It's not a pillow. It's just rolling enough of the blanket up to support that curve at the cervical spine. Really relaxing. Just making sure that you're finding that shape that inspires a sigh. Even if you didn't literally do one, just feel that release of weight. And allow the stillness to increase the weight of the body. Allowing your observation of your breath and just this melt into stillness and keep you present and healing and resting.